Hey guys, I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
This is VIMTV. This is not an episode. This is kind of a return to our philosophy section where we kind of talk about things we think about. We wanted to give some feedback. We've gotten a lot of questions and comments from fans about the scores that we're giving and our scales. You know, a lot of times, you know, we'll put out an album that, you know, we rate it like a 70. And, you know, a good example, Widespread Panic. I think we averaged at a 70 there, our VIMTV score of 70. And people were like, well, that's a low score. Well, to us, that's not a low score. That's a good score to us.
And that's one thing we had to explain to a lot of Widespread Panic fans in emails, is that, you know, no, that's not bad.
Now, the Harvey Milk fans that were giving a shit for hating their album, I mean, well, their album sucked. It's not our fault. I mean, it's just, you know, a 20 is a 20, but that's kind of our scale. I mean, if you really think about our scale, Tom, we won't give anything lower than a 20. No. That's kind of the low.
We actually decided on that. Yeah. Because we kind of feel like, you know, to be making music at all, to not just be farting into a microphone, but actually trying to compose something, you know, I feel like, you know, critics out there who give albums like a 10 or something, well, you're ignoring the fact that the person actually picked up an instrument and did something.
Or theory.
Yeah, in Bieber's case, I mean, that doesn't even apply. But I think 21 was too high a score for this.
Anyways, well, we feel like, you know, it's kind of tough for us because we have to grade everything in perspective of every other album that we've graded. And you know, the collective albums, you know, we have these albums that, you know, like I always think of Dr. Dog's 2010 release. I forget what it's called. Shame. Where you know, it was a good album, and really there was nothing wrong. There was really nothing wrong about the album. It's just contextually speaking, it didn't set out to do very well. It didn't set up to just kick ass and redefine music like so many other albums have done out there that we've reviewed. And while it was a very good album and very well executed, it can only be as good as it was in its scope to do. And for us, that's a solid album, and that means it's a 70.
Exactly, and you did a great job, and we've actually sprinkled these little comments throughout our episodes, but that's why we wanted to do this, is for your, just to kind of give you the I don't even know what the hell word I'm looking for, make it easy for you, the convenience, give you the convenience of being able to just come to this little ditty and collect all the little information we've spread around, and that's the thing, is that we think, we don't work on, oh, well, this was the best for what it was going for, 100. That's not what it's about. We're looking at things as we see them. Our opinions, obviously, this is opinion. Don't ever think that we're trying to tell you fact.
Well, and they're also snapshots, because our opinions change on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, what I gave Memory Tapes a 79. I would give that easily a 97 now.
I gave Flying Lotus's album, Cosa Grandma, like 65, 60 maybe, and I would give that probably 75, 80
Exactly. And because, you know, things change, and we try to do this in a timely manner. I know some of them probably are posted late because, you know, we can only do so many at a time. So maybe it's a little after the fact, but, you know, we only have time to listen to these things a handful of times before we can post them. But we always, you know, come back to the ones that we thought were at least somewhat interesting or good. But yeah, we don't think that something just being the best it is for what it is, that's a limiting factor. We say that a lot. It's very limiting. You know, if they weren't trying to achieve that much, then we can't give them a score in the 80s. At the same time, and I mentioned this in our episode of the Zoo album, Carboniferous, Jake and I listen to music very differently. Jake really starts at the top, and then kind of cuts down as he sees things are bad. I mean, it's not as black and white as that. I just mean relative to each other. No, you do that a little more, whereas I start at the bottom, and as there's things that I like, it builds up, and even if there's some things that I don't like, if there's enough things that I do, then I'm willing to give an album like a perfect score.
Absolutely. And to me, I mean, I look at things I really value. I mean, we have a spreadsheet. Well, I have a spreadsheet. Tom's been nice enough to flatter me with his opinions and help with it. But I have a spreadsheet where, you know, we actually calculate 14 different variables, you know, that are just rough guesses at things that we look at. You know, and things that I value are, you know, originality, this being unique in sound and style, you know, and concept, putting thought behind your albums, planning them out, going for that, you know, extra mile to make a good album. And, you know, those are things that are very important to me, on top of vocals and production and other things that just maybe might take a backseat to that, but are still very important to me. I know, Tom, you really value instrumentality, you know, musicianship, and mood.
Mood is huge for me. Also production, which I mean, not just good production. Some of my favorite albums have pretty poor production, but it's all about how it plays with the music, how it works with it. It's all in context, and they all work together. You can't just look at one thing and think, oh, well, that's bad, it must be bad. You know, it's all about how they play together. Sometimes even bad lyrics can be effective. Look at Ween.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but it works in a context with their music.
Shit, look at Japan Droids.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and one other thing I'd really like to point out is that I think society has just trained, and not to go all liberal on you, but society has kind of, you know, we grow up in an education system where we're trained to think about perfection and grades. And yes, there is an element to that in reviewing something, because that's what you're doing. There's a rubric, you're following it, and we have to cut out some sort of score. But the score isn't verbatim A, B, C, D like you would have on a math exam. I mean, to us,
it's completely different.
Yeah, to us, it's much more fluid. And I guess we could put it into terms of, like, what would be considered an A for VIMTV.
Yeah, I saw that someone on Metacritic once posted a comment and was like, oh, you know, this website gave this a B plus, and this person, and Metacritic averages that out as like a 60 or 70 something. Well, you know, as a teacher, B plus would be in the upper 80s. Well, they're not the same damn scales, because an F in math is if you get like 60-some%. It's totally different.
Yeah, no, and if we give something a 60-some%, it's gonna be like a C. It's like an average album.
C or C+.
And I'd say, you know, for me, I consider a good album, a really awesome album, you know, 80 to 85 and above is incredible. 70s are good albums to me. Like 60s need a little work, but they're still pretty solid. And 50 on down's where I'm a little worried about the presentation. But other than that, I mean, like, I feel like that's our scale. And it's not something that I feel like our fans and viewers should take super literally, because it's a moving thing. You know, we could say, you know, oh, we like an ish scale, or we say, yeah, 6-ish, 7-ish, 70-ish, 80-ish, you know, and it's just implied.
When we started this website, we actually didn't know if we were going to have scores, and then we just decided to on the fly. If you watch our very first episode, we're just kind of like, oh, do we want to do this? Okay. And that's how that started. And then, you know, I mean, a lot of our earlier episodes don't really reflect the scales we have now, because we really had to adjust it as we fit more albums into there. But yeah, I would say, you know, 20 is the lowest we'll ever go. 20 to 60, so 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s range is varying degrees of dislike in general. 60s, I'd say, is when there's more good to say about an album than bad, but there's still enough bad that you can't be like, oh, well, this is really good. It's just enjoyable. So like 60s is like the enjoyable range. 70s is like, this is solid, this is really good range. 80 to 90 is like, this is really good. Like really, really good, and then 90 to 100 is like, this is absolutely incredible and groundbreaking. This
is the upper echelon of music. And really, I mean, we don't take it more seriously than that. I mean, if you guys see, you know, that we are issuing a 70, I would be very pleased with that, and I wouldn't compare that to another album. And really, what we're doing is we're comparing our scores to Metacritic. I mean, if you see a score on Metacritic that's a 70, you should be pleased with that. I mean, that's an awesome score.
And I mean, they still consider 60 to 70 in the green range.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in that regard, also, you can't take our color coding to go exactly with it.
With Metacritic, but that is where we draw a lot of our influence on our grading scale. We love Metacritic. If you guys don't go to Metacritic, you're crazy. I know we link to it on every episode. So, but yeah, if you guys have any feedback or want to give us drop a line about, you know, what you think about our scale, or have any suggestions for us, we'd love to talk to you about it. But really, moreover, just thank you for taking the time to watch our episodes and to understand, you know, and to delve deeper into music. Because it's such a beautiful thing. Our lives would be so crappy without music. And what we're trying to do, the whole point of VIMTV, is to help people find new music and to really help enhance their lives through music. That's the whole point.
As well as us. And a lot of our fans out there who have requested albums and given us feedback are giving us the experience that we really want everyone else to have.
And every time you guys request an album and you know, drop us a constructive line, for that matter, about or comment about our music or our reviews, you know, it really means a lot to us, and we get a lot out of that. We love talking to fans about music. So thank you.
Yeah.
But that hopefully gives you guys some clarity as to where we're coming from when we're grading these scales, because it doesn't matter. It's just a number. I'm an accountant. Believe me, numbers don't matter. Anyways, we feel like that wraps it up. If you have any questions, let us know. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
We are VIMTV. Peace, guys.